right, good afternoon and welcome to the Midweek Connection. My name is Travis Jones. I'm the Minister of Spiritual Formation at Hillside UMC, and I have a special guest with me today, Ms. Jenny Hurt. She's our children's pastor here at Hillside UMC. So what we thought we'd do, since it's that time of year where people are kind of getting back into the swing of what normal would be with school, is we thought we'd talk a little bit about that, a little bit about the things going on in the children's ministry, because typically that's where people tend to drive, right? They tend to drive that area in that time. Now, I know this year is more normal than last year, because last year we had tons of COVID going on, and though it's still around, it's not as prevalent as it was last year. And you made a comment in one of our staff meetings. Well, first of all, welcome to Midweek Connection.
Thank you.
Forgot to do that. You made a comment in one of our staff meetings. You said this year it seems normal, but it seems important.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I think because last year was so nobody knew anything, like everything was changing by the minute. Now we've settled into what we call the new normal. Mm-hmm. And this is, I feel like, going to set a precedent as how we move forward in the following years. So when I think about my kids going back to school, the way they're going back this year seems to be setting what it's going to be moving forward.
Okay.
And just things that we do, it's going to really shape. Now, I think about my kids and what they've been through, where they went and they were digital for half a year because it shut down. And then they went through a year where they were in and out of school and they had to wear masks and things like that. So now coming back to a school year where they might not even remember what school was exactly like before all this, because I have younger kids, like they're 5, 7, and 9. This year is just going to set the stage for like their education, I think.
Okay. Well, it stuck with me when you said it, and I thought, man, we need to have Jenny on the Midweek Connection right before school starts back to talk about that. So that makes perfect sense now. One of the things I know that everybody deals with is, especially when school comes back into play, is that return to a normal-ish schedule, and that can put a lot of pressure on parents, right? You went from a summer, which sometimes is everywhere, back to more of a structured setup. What kind of pressures have you seen and stresses have you seen as a parent? Because I know my own, but have you seen with what you do in talking with parents, being a children's minister?
I think what parents struggle with, and I mean I struggle with myself, is just making sure our priorities are set in the right direction. Because I mean I have 3 kids, and so we have kids who have all these different schedules, and I find myself running around and then losing focus of what I want our family to focus on, because we're dropping off at dance and we're going to karate and we're having soccer practices and things like that. And then you just kind of get lost in the hustle and bustle, which you can do with anything. Like I do that with my job. I do that, I mean, across the board, you can do that. So now that we're moving back into a season where we are having activities and we're having full schedules again, makes me, it was nice to have more family time, but holding on to that family time, because it's easy now to slip right back into Monday nights we have this, and Tuesday nights we have to do this, and then forgetting what your priorities were and where you wanted your family to focus.
Okay. So making sure the priorities are right and the focus is set in the right direction, and not so easily slipping back into what normal was prior.
Yes. The busyness.
The busyness. Because busyness a lot of times is just busyness. It doesn't, we think it has purpose and it makes us feel good, but a lot of times it's just that, it's just busyness. So I like that. I like that answer a lot. Well,
that's why I have that quote or I have that written on the board in my room.
Tell me about the quote. Now I walked into her office this morning, and she's meeting with people, and I do what I do best, and interrupt meetings. And she has got a quote behind her on her bookshelf, and I said, that's an awesome quote. Be prepared to answer that question. But I forgot what the question was. So
it was, what is keeping you from making Jesus the priority in your family? And that's just a reminder for me. Like, what is it that's in my life that's not keeping Jesus as our priority? So, and that comes into the busyness again. So I constantly, when I'm talking to other parents, are like, I want to make sure we come to church, and I want my kids to have their devotion, and I want this, but it's too easy to let other things get in the way. Like even now they have activities scheduled on Sundays, like, or my kid has a soccer game or whatever it is. Um, but it's making sure that you can recognize what those things are in your life so that you can keep Jesus as the priority in your family.
Okay. So as schedules heat up and as activities increase, the stressor that's there is the inability sometimes to not let busyness become pretty much our idol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And keeping that in its proper place and realizing that Jesus needs to be at the center of what we do, which will cause us to say no to some things.
Yes.
Some uncomfortable things, right? She smiles at that, right? Some uncomfortable things. It causes us to say no to. So as we move into the school year and things kind of move back into that normal footing, do you think we're going to find ourselves as different family units having to, if we're keeping Jesus in the right place, which is at the center, having to say no to good things?
Yes, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
what about that guilt associated with my kid is not going to get to participate in this good thing because I need to say no to it because, like, what about that? Because I know that's there.
Yeah, it's there.
She's like, yeah, I'm experiencing it right now.
As a parent, I mean, I feel that too. And you, even when you have to say no to something that is going to upset your children or things like that, it's still important. I think you have to just remember that family time too. And if it means, if what saying yes to that changes your priorities and takes your Jesus out of the center and takes away that family time, then overall it's good to say no. And it's okay to say no. I struggle. I say yes. I always say it. So it's Mike and I were we keep getting the email they need assistant coaches in soccer, and he goes, I'm getting pulled, Jenny. I'm getting pulled. And I was like, I see that, and it's okay to say no, though,
right.
Even though there's a need there, because we do all of these different things already. So you can't always say yes. It's important sometimes to say no, even when, a yes could be okay. You have to set boundaries.
I like that. It reminds me of I took my son camping not too long ago, and something he said stuck with me because there was nothing to do other than just hang out and be outside, and it was quiet. And he said, I wish it was like this every day. So it immediately rang in my spirit that, okay, all the things that I think or that I want or wish that he would be involved in that I think would be great for him, he's saying, I like the quiet.
Yeah.
I like being out, just being, right? Because so many times we get caught up in the busyness and rather than the being part. So I think that's a good, and like you said, it is okay to say no, even though you're going to struggle with it as a parent.
Yeah.
That guilt, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do right. So that's good. All right. So school's getting started back. You've said like priority, Jesus, right? Keeping him at the center and being able to say no is an important thing. Before we get to some of the things that Hillside's going to be offering with related to activities, we just got to talk about. We're going to be talking about activities that Hillside's going to be offering. Before we get to that, let's talk really quickly about some very practical tips that maybe you're engaging with your family for these particular things we just talked about.
Okay.
Some things that you're actually doing that other people could benefit from, about keeping Jesus at priority, and maybe they're not just things you're doing, but attitudes that you're trying to hold on to with this.
Okay. I have to think about that for a second.
I love putting people on the spot. It's one of my spiritual gifts. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we encourage our older children to do some journaling, which helps them reflect on their day and their activities, and really helps them recognize different questions they have. And because I know for young children, like, it might be hard to realize why, like, we're especially if they are still just getting to know who Jesus is and things like that. So helping them kind of cope with those questions. We do have intentional family time and family prayer time as well. That helps us. And we actually encourage our children to lead that time.
Okay.
Mike and I don't typically lead when we pray. We have our children lead. And that is really a growing thing for them. And right now it's like Daniel's favorite thing. He'll jump up and he'll always want to lead.
I think if you're watching this, that's one of the things you probably need to write down right there. Keep going.
Well, he just like, so now it's just, I know that when I grew up, I had this fear of praying out loud and in front of other people, but I don't feel like my children have that now because we've encouraged it so much that they jump to pray. And so those are just some of the things. And we intentionally, have to say no to our kids where they're like, oh, can I go to a friend's house? Can I go to that? I'm like, no, today is a time we're spending together. And things like that. So I think that answered.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Okay.
So I hope you gleaned something from that if you're a parent watching this, or you're really, you don't have to be a parent to glean from that because that was good stuff. So that part of it was for that. It's kind of an equipping moment for our parents out there and myself as we move back into this new normal-ish type thing. So the second part of this was I wanted to talk just a little bit about the activities. Now, we give you permission to say no to these, right? Because we just got done saying
absolutely
that no is an okay answer. But we're going to be offering some activities in the fall leading into Christmas. And we've also got some programs that parents can take advantage of as life becomes more busy than it was prior. So you want to talk a little bit about the activities we've got and then move into the others?
So some of you will be very excited to know that we have Christmas musical coming back this year. We're going to have auditions on September 12th. Rehearsals will be on Sunday evenings this year from 4 to 5. It's going to be a really cute musical, and we're excited for the kids to come and be involved in that again, if that's something that you guys want to do with your family. And then we also have childcare programs here at the church, and some people use them regularly, and I still hear often people will be like, I didn't know you had these. So in partnership with the Preschool and Academy, we have a breakfast club, which is a before school care. And then we also have enrichment, which is an after school care for the school. Now for enrichment, even if you're not in the school, you can still come and sign up for that. It's 1 to 4, Monday through Thursday. And then we also have Parents Morning Out, which is starting August 16th, and that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we run on the Cherokee County school schedule.
Right.
And that is 9 to 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for kids like pre-K and younger.
So a lot of opportunities, and these programs are good, and they're not just fancy babysitting programs. There are activities that are involved with the name. Just give me one example of something that would take place during one of these programs.
Well, in our enrichment, we do Bible stories. We do a lot of STEM activities. We do crafts, and we like to bring in music and movement as well. We are going to be starting a homework club for our academy kids who come to enrichment, and academy clubs where we'll do like a Lego club or journaling or even like a drama kind of club, and those will be really fun. And then our Parents Morning Out, we try to bring in actual curriculum where we're doing Bible stories and having them do memory verses and learning letters and numbers and colors and shapes and things like that. So it's not just free play, it's a structured environment.
Let's see, it sounds great. Even as a parent, think about my own children. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It's structured, and there's things that are beneficial to them, as well as the child care component with that. So that's awesome. And these things are back up and running. Like now, how would somebody connect with those things?
Well, you can go to the website.
Okay.
And if you go to our website /kids, you'll see
hillsideumc.org/kids.
You'll see the different programs that we have up, and you can just click on find more information and even register through there as well. Cool.
Well, it sounds like a lot. We want to keep this short because it is the midweek connection type deal. We tend to stay around 15 minutes with those, and we got 30 seconds with that. So is there anything else you want to add to what you said? It was fantastic, by the way. Anything else you want to add? Nothing?
I'm excited for the school year and what it brings.
I am too. I'm excited for the normalcy of schedule with that. But with all said, hopefully this has been beneficial for you. You're able to glean some things from it. And if you're interested in the programs, remember it's hillsideumc.org/kids. I started to just /kids, and that's where you go for that information. So with all that said, this has been the Midweek Connection. We hope you have a blessed week.